They're calling it the Big Beautiful Bill. I did not expect to care much until I realized it could actually change how we access Medicaid for our daughter. This isn't a political video. I'm just a dad trying to keep up with what's changing. The Big Beautiful Bill was signed into law.
Mr. President, this is the gavel we use to enact the Big Beautiful Bill, and I want you to have that for your
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Are we ready?
And there are a few parts that could affect families like mine, especially if you rely on Medicaid, food assistance, or services for your child. So, I started digging.
The bill doesn't change the income eligibility requirements. Instead, it imposes new requirements that critics say some people have difficulty complying with. It requires able-bodied recipients to work, attend school, or volunteer 80 hours a month. But critics say it's hard to know where to draw the line on who is disabled enough to be exempt from the work requirement.
One of the headlines said that Medicaid and SNAP recipients need to work 80 hours or volunteer 80 hours a month in order to be eligible for these benefits. My first thought was, did I just lose Medicaid? I am not working. I am a caregiver. I'm at the house 24/7 with my daughter and son. So what does this mean for me? After doing some reading, I saw that some states do offer exemptions for parents who are caregivers, including possibly Connecticut, where we live. But even if you're exempt, you may still need to fill out paperwork.
Paperwork is paperwork, and that's dull.
Knowing that set me back a little bit. I really hope that this process is modernized so that it is easier on the families to track. Now, in our case, my wife is actually the one who handles all of the paperwork for Medicaid. She's listed as our daughter's primary caregiver and is the one who signed up for a lot of my daughter's services. So honestly, we might be okay when these new rules kick in, because she's full-time and clearly meets the criteria. But I still wanted to talk about this because not every family is set up the same way. Some caregivers are going solo, some are grandparents, some are navigating this system without much help. So even though we might be safe, I know others might need to prepare differently, and I did not want to stay silent about that. Medicaid is a big part of our support system. We use it for therapies, specialists, appointments, medical supplies, all of it. And because I stay home full time to care for our daughter, any policy changes that impacts Medicaid hits close to home. Now I'm going to be honest, I was never into politics before. I did not follow any bills or budgets. I just focused on parenting. But raising a child with complex needs kind of pulls you into it. You start to realize that one small change in law can affect the services you rely on. I'm still not great at keeping up with everything, but I've learned that parenting is not about being perfect. It's about showing up and learning as you go. So here's what I learned. The bill adds a few changes that are worth knowing about. First, states will now check Medicaid eligibility twice a year instead of once. That means more paperwork and more chances to get dropped, even if you still qualify. Second, it allows states to ask for proof of working or volunteering 80 hours a month. That might not apply to everyone, but full-time caregivers need to ask if they're exempt. And third, if you lose coverage and reapply, Medicaid might only backdate help by 1 month instead of 3, which could leave families with some big bills to cover. Honestly, none of that was explained clearly in the news, but once I read through it, I realized it's not about freaking out. It's just something we need to plan around. I found a breakdown from KFF and some legal sites that explains it all really well. The changes don't hit tomorrow, but by 2026, the states will start rolling them out. So if you're in the age range 19 to 64, it's worth checking in with your Medicaid office now to see how your state plans to handle it. Before this, I honestly thought Medicaid was just set and forget. You sign up and you're covered. Now I see that I have to stay a little more organized, especially as a caregiver who doesn't fit the usual mold of what working looks like. So here's what I'm doing to prepare. I'm calling our state Medicaid office to ask if full-time caregivers in Connecticut need to submit anything. I'm going to start keeping a care log, just a simple list of what I do each day to care for my daughter. And I'm setting calendar reminders to check our eligibility every 5 to 6 months, just so nothing falls through the cracks. It's not a big overhaul, it's just a few things that might help me stay ahead. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to be present and prepared. Parenting a child with special needs has taught me that we cannot always control the system, but we can do our best to stay ready for whatever's next. If you're a full-time caregiver too, I'd love to hear what you learned. Have you called your state office yet? Have they explained anything differently? I'm trying to stay connected with other parents who get it. And if you think someone else could benefit from this breakdown, feel free to share it. Alright, before I wrap up, I just want to leave you with a quick overview of some other stuff in the big beautiful bill that I did not talk about earlier. This bill doesn't just change Medicaid, it also touches things like food benefits, taxes, and saving plans. If you or someone you know uses SNAP, also called food stamps, there are now stricter work rules for people up to age 64. That means more folks may need to work, volunteer, or be in school 80 hours a month to keep their benefits. States will decide how it rolls out, but it's definitely worth asking questions if you depend on that support. On the tax side, the child tax credit goes up a little, from $2,000 to $2,200 per kid. And if you're a homeowner, the SALT deduction cap jumps from $10,000 to $40,000 through 2029, which could help folks in higher tax states. Seniors get an extra $4,000 standard deduction through 2028. If you earn tips or overtime, that income might be tax-free for a while. And small business owners or the self-employed might notice changes too, like a better QBI deduction and more options for deducting equipment. There are also updates to 529 education plans, ABLE accounts, and even something called Trump accounts, which are new savings accounts for young kids. Again, I'm not trying to tell you what to think. I just wanted to share the stuff I came across while doing my own research. If any of this hits close to home, I'd say take some time, dig deeper, and double check how your state is handling the rollout. I hope this helped. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace and one love.